Who can get bread these days? And even if you're not much of a bread eater, it's essential for some things, like sandwiches don't work very well without bread, and neither do things like pizza, which at least need a bread-like dough. So we experimented and came up with this. The ingredients that you see on the screen are things we keep on hand in good supply in our pantry. It is perfectly okay to do some substituting. For example, if you don't have any almond flour or protein powder, I am sure that you can get by with what kind of flour you do have and just make up the amount. The chopped garden herbs are something we enjoyed in the second batch, but they're completely optional. I made the first batch plain, as you see it here. Everything gets dumped into a bowl. Use a fork to cut in the oil so that you get a crumbly, evenly mixed substance. Then add the water and knead it into a dough. Depending on what you plan to make with it, divide your dough either into 4 or 8 balls. Lightly oil the biggest cast iron skillet you have and roll each ball into a flattened pancake-like thing less than 1/4 of an inch thick. This pastry roller worked fantastically. If you don't have one, pressing down over and over with your hand works almost as well. I think you could go thinner and get the same recipe to make crispy crackers. You'd have to be very alert to the cooking time, but it should work just fine. It works best to cook on low heat so that they do get done all the way through. And when one side is very lightly brown, flip them over and do the other side. It's perfectly okay to flip them multiple times during the process just to be on the safe side. Here's our first batch. These are the plain ones, and they were actually very pleasant. I had peanut butter on mine. Jack had almond butter on his. The second batch, we got fancy and incorporated these garden herbs. The total, once finely chopped, was probably about 1/4 cup volume. You could certainly vary that based on what your family likes. These we cooked all on one side for 4 to 5 minutes and then flipped them because the idea was to make mini pizzas out of these. We topped them with a little pesto from a jar, chopped black olives, chopped onions, and feta. Cooked the second side while those ingredients were heating on the top, making sure the heat is really low so you've got plenty of time for the ingredients to heat up, and it was just delicious. We made 2 pizzas and 2 plain pieces of herbed flatbread, and here are the herbed breads. I'm sure you can think of creative ways to vary this idea based on what you have and what you want, and have fun.